Okay, everyone. Today we're going to study the past perfect tense. This tense is very important at B1 level because it helps us organize events clearly when we talk about the past. The main idea is simple. We use the past perfect to talk about an action that happened before another action in the past. So, when there are two past actions, the earlier action is usually in the past perfect, and the later action is in the past simple. Let's start with the form. The past perfect is made with had plus past participle. The auxiliary verb is always had, and it is the same for all subjects: I, you, he, she, it, we, they. For example, I had finished, she had arrived, they had left. In spoken English, we usually use contractions. So instead of saying I had taken, we say I'd taken. But be careful. I'd can also mean I would, so you must look at the verb after it. If it's a past participle, like taken, then it's past perfect. Now let's understand the main use. We use the past perfect when one action happened first and another action happened later. For example, when Tom arrived home, I had already left. Tom's arrival is in the past simple because it is the later action. My leaving happened before, so we use the past perfect. Another example. Yesterday, I was very tired because I hadn't slept well the night before. The sleeping problem happened first, and the tiredness happened later. Notice that we often use time words such as already, before, after, when, until with the past perfect. These words help show the order of events. For example, she had already finished the exam when the bell rang. Or, we hadn't been to London until we went there last summer. These expressions make the sequence of events clearer. Let's now look at the negative form. To make the past perfect negative, we simply add not after had. In spoken English, we use the contraction hadn't. For example, I hadn't ever blogged before last week. Or they hadn't toured before, so they missed home a lot. The structure is always subject plus, hadn't plus past participle. Now let's look at questions. To form a question in the past perfect, we invert the subject and the auxiliary verb. So instead of saying, you had finished, we say, had you finished? For example, had you already injured your leg before you played on Sunday? Or, had they tested the water before they went in? Remember that in short answers, we repeat the auxiliary verb. For example, had she recovered before class began? Yes, she had. No, she hadn't. In positive short answers, we do not use contractions. It's also important to compare the past perfect with the past simple. If the order of events is already clear from the sentence structure or time expressions, sometimes we don't need the past perfect. For example, after she finished dinner, she watched TV. The order is clear. However, when the order might be confusing, the past perfect helps make it clearer. She watched TV after she had finished dinner. Another important point at B1 level is that the past perfect is often used in stories and narratives. It helps describe background information. For example, the film was extraordinary because the director had created a very original story. Or, the team played brilliantly because they had trained hard all season. It gives context and shows preparation or cause. Let's connect this grammar with some of the vocabulary you know. For example, using adjectives to describe things. The concert was incredible because the band had prepared a magnificent performance. Or, the jacket looked old-fashioned because it had been damaged. You can also use it with animals or films. The animated film was brilliant because the studio had worked on it for years. So, to summarize, the past perfect is used to show that one past action happened before another past action. Make the order of events clear. Give background information in stories. Show cause and effect in the past. The structure has always had plus past participle, and it does not change with different subjects. If you remember this key idea, past before past, you will use the past perfect correctly and confidently.